All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Is My Career. Indeed, we're talking about student affairs and the student affairs world today. So if you're joining us as a student, welcome. If you're joining us as a professional, you probably already know this, but welcome too. So let's go ahead and get started. Maybe. All right, so a little disclaimer before we start. Everyone's experience and path are incredibly different. I'm not an expert, simply someone who's gone through the process, and I've had a path of opportunity. I encourage you to find a mentor and or a role model to really help you through this process and bounce ideas off of and just talk about general life and student affairs with. I think it's best to know a little bit about what you're getting into before you start. A little bit about me. My current role is an assistant director of student engagement. I work with all of our leadership programming as well as our organizations on campus. And it's really, quite frankly, a blast. I do a lot of large-scale programming and help advise some of our larger student organizations, our board of campus activities, and bring in plenty of fun stuff for our students to do. I have a Bachelor of Science in Ecology from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, and I received my master's in higher education from Southern Illinois University Carbondale. I also have certificates in women, gender, and sexuality studies as well as environmental studies. My start, just like most folks in student affairs or in higher education, you don't necessarily intend to go into student affairs. I wanted to be a high school science teacher, and that's why I have a degree in ecology. And of course, just like that, one person changed my life. So my path, I went from being an RA at Whitewater to becoming a housing intern. I decided to go the placement exchange route and went to the Oshkosh Placement Exchange, where I managed to land a graduate position at Southern Illinois University Carbondale. From there, I grew into a housing professional, stayed on at Southern, and then found my way out here to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Prescott, Arizona, where I worked as the Assistant Director of Housing and Residence Life. And then I just recently, in September, transitioned into my new role of Assistant Director of Student Engagement. In terms of me as a human, I'm a puppy mom, boxer, belly, and Latin dancer, outdoor enthusiast. Mostly I just like getting out there and staying active and doing human things, and I found that my new role, even though I work a lot of late nights, I definitely take the time to balance me. I'm on all sorts of social media platforms. You're more than welcome to join me or seek me out using any of these. I think the first step in jumping into the student affairs world is establishing your why. Try to think about exactly what you want to accomplish. Take a moment and reflect about why you want to head in the student affairs direction, right? Is it to work with students? Is it to bring students joy? Is it to challenge the higher education system and work on building community members instead of just successful individuals? For me, as much as this was a suggestion by one of my supervisors when I was a resident assistant, I found my path by kind of through failure. I had a student who was really charged. I knew he was troubled. I knew that he was someone I wanted to help, and one night I wasn't there to help him. He managed to break a number of porcelain sinks off the walls of our restroom and caused this huge flood of water, really disrupting my community and kind of really ruining a lot of his career as a football player and student. I knew in that moment that I wanted to be there for help, to help students like him and avoid that. And that's part of why I got my start in housing. We see our students at the most rawest, and I loved it. So as much as I just shared my story, I really recommend that you find yours and talk to other practitioners about their start. How did they get into the field? What keeps them in the field? What does a day look like in their lives? The one thing that I do know to be true most commonly across student affairs is that we all like to talk a lot about our experiences. So some student affairs areas. I just wanted you to really see kind of the birth of our community and what is around us. We have academic advising, admissions, campus child care providers, career services, college stores, counseling, distance education, financial aid, Greek affairs, international affairs, leadership development, multicultural affairs, residence life and housing, service learning, student activities and government, and of course student unions. Really, we kind of have an area for every single person's passion. So explore them and really don't commit to just one. So your next steps, right now you're thinking about a student affairs career. Some people choose to begin working right away, others go to grad school. There's plenty of variations, and like I said, it's almost impossible to map a specific path in student affairs because so many of us have really different starts. Some things to consider. What are your goals? What functional area are you interested in pursuing? Is continuing education for you? If so, what type of programs are you interested in? Do you want to be in a specific area, geographic location, or program, right? Do you have your heart set on one, or are you a little bit more open to kind of whatever? And really consider the cost of living and progression in your career as you're making these decisions. So jumping in, if you choose to go the full-time route, decide what area interests you. Talk to folks in that area. Scour the job postings. I have listed some helpful resources. Higher ed jobs is a great start to look at kind of what some requirements are for positions and where you want to go. Maxient also has job postings if your institution has a Maxient account. Under their community section, you can check out tons of opportunities there. And absolutely look at the placement exchanges, NASPA, ACPA, SPE, OPE. There are plenty. I'm also doing a webinar on December 13th to talk through placement exchanges and how to successfully navigate them if that's something you're interested in. Graduate school, if you decide to go that route, decide what you're looking for in a program, a newer program versus an established program, the location, if you want to complete comps, a practicum, a thesis, or even complete internships to satisfy your degree requirements. The type of degree you're looking for, a Master's of the Arts versus Master of Science, maybe even an MBA. Whether or not you want to take the GRE and if it is a program requirement. And also consider payment. If you are undergoing tuition reimbursement or tuition coverage, what does that look like? Will they pay you in addition for your tuition? Will they offer assistantships or connect you with an assistantship if you're in the program, that sort of thing. Helpful resources. The NASPA site has a really great program directory where you can kind of filter exactly what you're looking for in terms of like faculty or content areas. The ECPA site has a fantastic list of state by state. I think the last time it was updated was 2013, so it is up to you to look through that list, but it's a great starting point if you're doing a more geographic search. So continuing on in graduate school, reach out to alumni of the program or mentors about their experience with grad school. Weigh placement exchanges and their benefit. You know, a lot of practitioners repeat over and over again, trust the exchange, it works. But it is different if you're looking for specific areas or specific geographic locations. A placement exchange may not get you enough bang for your buck, so be conscious of that. Be mindful of admissions requirements and application timelines. Applications cost a good bit of money, so maybe wait until a school is serious about you or you're serious about the school. But be conscious of the cost, right? Ultimately, you want to consider how you're going to survive through graduate school if you have a family to support, if you can receive financial aid, if they pay you in addition to cover your cost of tuition, if you can have an additional job or if you'd want an additional job. be conscious of that. Start thinking about where you want to go and what you want to do, preparing your resumes, letters of rec, cover letter, and what I wasn't prepared for, which I think surprises a number of people, is in graduate school applications, most of them want a writing sample. So work through that now. And also, be assertive, and this doesn't mean, really abrasive or anything like that. It can be very much up to you, but you want to make sure a school knows that you're interested in them, as they will know if they're interested in you. So don't be afraid to send the thank you note, to follow up, and things like that. Consider your non-negotiables, right? I knew a really interesting practitioner who actively talked that he would never work at an institution that was far away from a Krispy Kreme donut place. For me, it's Target. I always want to live near a Target, and I know that sounds really silly, but these are the things that help you through your time in the practice. Whether or not you're paying for grad school, if that's an option, avoiding the GRE, or wanting to take the GRE. That's up to you. If you decide, comps don't sound that great, I don't want to write a bunch at the end of my time to prove my knowledge, maybe look for a different, a practicum-based program, things like that. Really, the possibilities are endless. And so it's up to you. Talk through what you want to do, what you want to see, what you want to accomplish. Maybe it's having a bathtub because you de-stress with bubble baths. It's up to you. Great news! The field is really ripe with exploration. What I mean by that is you can do so many things, and you can stretch your education and practice in really different ways to talk about what you're doing and what you can accomplish and what you can offer to a number of functional areas. You aren't necessarily choosing a specific thing. Paths in student affairs are pretty enriched, and you can go any direction. School is always an option. Continuing your education will always be there. You can change your degree. You can jump in and out of student affairs. You just be able to articulate your rationale and your reasoning. More experiences of different natures make you a little bit more marketable, right? I've worked in assessment, marketing, housing and residence life, student engagement, activities, fraternity and sorority life. I can draw on all of those things to talk through and apply my practice to anything I want to do. And it's absolutely possible to transition into different functional areas, as I am living proof of that. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Again, my name is Sara Holtzman. I'm from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. My email and office line are attached, and feel free to look me up on any social media platform, all right? And thank you, and have an awesome day.